Hello dear black YouTubers. Please watch the video that will take longer to upload than this video. And if someone will make a channel to be monetized, and I'll spend the time from my channel to tell that, to say what we're going to do, in other words, to write our scripts. And we'll use that to fund like a hyper charity. As a method slash S, to organize that, not the slightest bit, will be led by what actually causes positive value nature progressions acts in nature. Anybody who tries to justify, who tries to say, make an opinion or conviction defending, in other words, if you ask someone if they think that the foundation of New York City is criminally foreign influenced, even though it was also juxtaposed with everything great about humanity, natural, and wanting to do right. And I'm not saying, oh, because this person's greedy and that. Those are the little things that they do. I'm saying the breaching method before our founding parents was still effective. That's how they built better than we do today. Relative, many ways. And there were laws, they couldn't build better, even though they didn't have cars. They had means to. There are means to make way safer homes. See, but we're in a system with hundreds and hundreds of nations at once that, just like our founders here, before they were born, there was already an entrenched 666 system of laws, of database relationships built, designed to sense that as its nervous system, a crazy psycho slavery system against every single person. So we switched the colors because everyone needs to see how that breaching predicate acts delivery system method uses has complete possession over the convictions and over the opinions of anyone that tries to say that there is not criminal foreign influence recorded overtly / insidiously manifest regarding our infrastructure means to it syntax-wise, therefore function-wise. This is a databases-oriented human fact-cheating nature predicate acts slavery and torture at the same time, because it was a propagation method worse than that, and using that sustain to blame other things other than themselves. This used this effectively against the Native Americans. Native American culture, first lesson, their education was tactically removed from them, while other was tactically forced, tricked, hurt, persuaded, and only fathomed. Everyone, sickly distinctly. Think the colonists, you think you play the role of the white colonists. You're free? No. See witch trials. See responses to them today. How they explain that. See how they leave, as you will leave out. Simultaneously slavery existed. When playing the role of white men and women, you will separate subjects, leaving out what is simultaneous, leaving out the voice that doesn't have a degree, inclusion with the black and white degrees that blamed on other things other than themselves. The real causes of negative value nature progressions acts in nature, because the predicate acts delivery system method that was sophistication here first has all identities of sophistication, many ways relative to our correlation, needed to blame other things others themselves, the real cause of negative value nature progressions acts in nature, onto each person. As styles pretending positive and negative has been spoken for. Pretending identity has been spoken for. Identity has a relationship to positive, what is positive and is into negative simultaneously, because identity is a demonstration of much more, and that which is simultaneously much more finite, than the smallest detail. It is the value of the order of the finite. The value of that is greater than all things at once, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously itself. So we could discern it as a distinct identity of invisible but still discernible only in one way. And that is through discernment of the conjunction between 1/3/5 distinctly bonded identities of volume. This is music science. Then comes theory. This is relativity science. Then comes theory. See, we have theories, delusions wrought tactically, positive and negative mistreatments insidiously, offensively, because roles with sense and sensibilities have been to collusion with here and there hundreds of nations at once, as courts, as time treatments used too fast, simultaneously, too fast and too slow, getting around forever nature, as a quality of fact treatment nature that is pretending to be about calm, but they have roles lying about the behavior of others because they have roles with it. With the P, they're lying about what happened with locations. That is incapable of, in other words, they have roles with the violence because of their roles lying with killers, lying with overt criminal enterprises kept with their family members and neighbors, needing to hide the same sequence shifts, finite, active, progressive lies with the people that live near the corners of schools, for example, and roles with uses of that recorded, as actually recorded. They pretend offensively that they don't understand people because they're fabricating audio and video into databases. The police are quality of fact treatment nature about things that involve where and how originally and still known. Even though they deny it, that's recorded too. They didn't criminally deny it, and with delusions, but also as rules, crimes, predators are getting away with it. Deny how the people who speak for the law and for citizens, and they're criminal. In other words, if anyone tries to defend, pretend that legitimate science and legitimate uses of the name and identity of America and of its states, any one you're in, if they think it was used without criminal foreign influences when they spoke for, or without criminal or foreign influences forcing the quality of fact treatment nature of that person, see, that's why I like about President Trump. It's closer to chief. But they're all distinctly, non-distinctly, and sickly distinctly prevented free speech. So, and through other motivations, nature's needs, interests, therefore styles, pretending other than the real causes of it relative to the breaching method that is simultaneously increasingly value being replaced sickly, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously by roles with private tied to the branches of government, exception nature that works with them too. And with the overt criminal enterprises, with the people associated with investigators, when they're asked questions as victims who react and respond to those questions. They become roles with names and with uses of the names and of the titles and of the locations' names involved with the value/value progression where there is syntax racketeering towards databases that effectively and kept and keeps lie progressions towards each identity of the grounds, age, of correlation nature, and uses of and perception of and hearing of other people's names. This is all offensively through other motivations, nature's needs, interests that appear natural only, but they're with overt criminal enterprises, overt criminal insidiousness, and insidious criminal insidiousness simultaneously, and that has names and has unrelated uses and roles with the same things everyone's against. So everyone remains styles, blaming other things, others themselves, even when correctly. When they're blaming what really causes the overt criminal enterprises, overtly / insidiously involved with the syntax nature and the timing of it, of kids in suburban schools and of Hartford schools, sickly distinctly, but also sickly non-distinctly. But see, everyone's not letting people offensively speak about the things that reveal this. Because the same investigators who've been fabricating, hiding their own lies and life progressions and actually recorded qualities of fact-shaping nature by using cases to do so, by roles with what leads up to walking, even where people walk from the car. They're trying to in other words, especially the kids after as adults, even after they came through school, that these courts. But in other words, they have delusions too. That's why we have the branch of government speak other than they admit, individually grouped in together, originally and still. That is discernible by the inherent active and progressive means of the correlation nature of a black child, to have means that to be able to discern how doctors, grown men and women, could be delusions wrought and sequence shifting and valuing sequence shifts. See, but they can't express this because this is a method that effectively kept and keeps valued obfuscations to kids where they already have the subjects parted, to keep it obfuscated, to keep time treatments consumed by and with other things no one has the time to explain. So they stay off the record relative to what they've been putting on the records and uses of that. And where and how when people go to courts, there's a quality of fact-keeping nature that forbids quality of fact-keeping nature. All exceptions is exception nature are employed by and as a breaching method to pretend other. This is recorded countless ways. But it is relevant and it is necessary to record for. This is also a affidavit and a police report about, we're going to take the extortion parts of it first. And, they're playing games with the word, with all words and phrases, but like reparations. We're going to deal with this as the human identity of volume, fit with torture standards, enslaved, and by delusions raw experts too long in collusion with the interbranch needed to pretend other. They don't have integrity. And this new method knew that it was going to be, they were going to be victims, needed to pretend to be integrity, pretend to be able to speak about the law anyway, so they would use the knowledge of the law. They would self-value statutes criminally foreign influence, delusions raw, by and as their roles with rules, racketeering. All the opinions are dishonest for reasons known. Not just classified. They expressed it to us, how we have nations here and there that are, all these cultures that are, they also say that we're enemies with each other. But they also have roles with our interbranch family members and with overt criminal enterprises family members, with predicate acts on-off interbranch locations, and roles with that, with acting with fake sides of arrays of what really goes down with locations and next to those locations, like campuses, even like parks, even next to post offices, on and off post offices, on and off the locations next to them, on and off the people near corners. This is a pathology of streets and a scale of infrastructure and of means to it, means to maintain it. Roles with that, all and motivations with that, all juxtaposed other than what is not another nation, but it is not without another nation. It had all the identity of the ground, locations, areas, and states criminally foreign influenced methodically. Roles with natures of laws about what you could say and not say. Therefore, immediate remote control over the sense and sensibilities, to use James Austin's phrase, or the nervous system over, of every individual group and together, of their syntax, of premises treatments, therefore of defenses of it. So while everyone's talking about all the other things it was and is, everyone's leaving out the premises treatments. There are people that from Central Connecticut State University that recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, and from Wethersfield, Connecticut that recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, and from Hartford. There are judges and prosecutors in our foreign and domestic military associated with the Parker English, with all along Walker Hill on my street, and people with the World Trade Center, Washington, D.C., that are criminally foreign influence uses of a whole bunch of nations and racketeering. Like, for example, they pretend to be against inclusion, people that are involved with abuses and exploitations of tactical pseudo-education on and off the campuses of the city, sickly distinctly, as one's also involved with predators on and off the urban campuses. A principal child offender is also one involved with other natures of child abuse with and roles with natures of mixed natures of it, because locations that have types of experts to deal with all those things distinctly, and ones with badges, there are also ones with courts and judges that have been using identity ground locations to maintain cover-ups of their actually recorded uses of positive and negative treatments of the identity of the state and of the country and of other countries and of cultures, and to keep as collusion keeping and having kept cultures science and volume science worse than obfuscated, not self-valued, not exploited. And all the time, the premises treatment's increasingly exploited. We need to value all that simultaneous with the subject's treatments that are the same old. So in this, we could also have cartoon characters play the roles of the black and white that collude with slavery. So not only are we're all for black and white simultaneously. Because you, as white characters, to understand this, you have to be against it. It's natural. Human volume is against slavery. That's one of the reasons they put it in the laws and you force roles with it. What happened if the guy who had the better job, Harry Beecher Stowe named him reportedly the Uncle Tom. I didn't read Uncle Tom's Cabin. Never had time. Relative to what is most important. But Harry Beecher Stowe House and Mark Twain House, then and now, were involved with remote uses of interbranch family members and instances and names and titles and jobs and locations like that one, not far from being around the corner from the state capital of Connecticut. It's involved with people, and that's in Hartford, Connecticut. It's involved with people intercities in Connecticut, on and off New Britain Superior Court, on and off Hartford Courts, on and off all along Route 3, and spots in conjunction to it, where they have identity thefts and frauds rules, sequence shifts rules, and roles with people with foreign and domestic medical, especially the ones with badges, differ differentially. Because the ones without it are sick too. Roles with uses of databases that all kinds of natures of colleges and universities have, and they have manifest problems relative to it and to statistics and to their defenses of statistics, for example, which are simultaneously defenses of premises treatments that are criminally foreign influence, and that is measured and maintained self-value by the stewards of locations, institutions of all natures, identity of the ground, locations of all natures. But this is also relevant to their roles with the not only the possession of slavery and the maintenance to it roles by worse, but also rolls with the complete possession of the Underground Railroad and uses of it, including today, to keep out, for example, what is simultaneous with the treatment of subjects, especially one so critical. There are revelations relevant to who would pretend that they can't discern that criminal foreign influences, delusions, and tactical force, tricked, hurt, persuaded, victim predator reactions are involved with the justification of the human standards and the means to it and of the causes of it. In other words, of people stacking in New York City. Note this is across the globe, the same scale of infrastructure. All differences are recorded themselves, only different to be used as exceptions, exception nature where and how they have complete possession over the quality of premises treatments of every individual group and together. Still, as court is clear day, no one follows mandated law. So my next video will say I have to keep it short, so this uploads first. It's to Fox News and Judge Napolitano. And these are also names that worked in the World Trade Center that I don't know, but we can get them. And former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his defendant capacities. For example, in a 2006 district court case and leading up to it, with a whole bunch of natures of federal criminals before they were caught for that, who were also with their family members recorded in collusion with them and other police forms, and people that lied to my teachers about me, and with some of them, on off campuses I went to, and uses of that were also recorded, and they're also relevant for WFSB and other Connecticut news, attached me and others to fake words and fake relativity to cases, and they pretended there were fake outcomes in cases. My father won an NLRB case, for example, and there are people that were defendants in that case, like various natures of federal criminals, who also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated having been involved with abuses of little boys and little girls, sickly distinctly, on campuses, the transitioning from walking on the locations next to it, and then brought up referentially, and all other locations, even people's homes. They attach everyone and one around them to the fake words with others. And then that's exploited where the quality of fact treatment nature is self-valued more and more by each age, having been parted from sophistication where there are simple short words that needed to be said. But instead we have critical race theory, for example. We have the bar itself, criminally foreign influence delusions wrought. I don't even have to read it. It is referenced when they speak. They do not follow mandated law. They have roles with database racketeering that's in the background being used to discredit people that have credit. Or anything that's real in databases that's negative against people, they also have roles with it. It's not, and then they pretend people are making excuses. Because they're preventing exception and exception nature from demonstrating its purpose and demonstration of what is simultaneously in relationship to truth and exception. So now they can't afford that discerned. It's easy. So they need to keep what's complicated, self-valued, and what's used to get over on time treatments too fast, too slow, to get over on forever nature identities. Nature, because we are constantly in relatively relationship to what is positive and negative, individually grouped and together. And as individuals, things are relatively positive or negative to us simultaneously, while our identity as volume perceives its one identity of relationship to positive and negative distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. But it is increasingly additionally through the filter of and self-valued as an archetypal criminal enterprise that simply has to maintain its self-value as that and pretending other, and afforded the means to that. All natures of positive treatments and negative treatments are being and having been made by victim predators, not by the people with actual honesty speaking for science. So we're going to use short revelations. So all we need is people that are going to be willing to act as roles, and we're going to paint an archetypal criminal enterprise, predicate acts delivery system method, and database relationships that you guys are going to be so scared of, and then we're doing it right. And we're going to get white actors to play the parts of black, and I'm going to play the part of Romulus and Remus that were named that by a Native American chief who found us when we were babies. But we're black in this movie. And evolution only feels like games. This is no game. We're talking about a predicate acts delivery system method. I am not a lawyer. They're also recorded how involved with the method/S that we're countering that they are incapable of defending themselves and their delusions and their rules, crimes, roles, and methods, and us at the same time. So we're going to use revelations the way they were supposed to be used, like the revelations inherent to the premises treatments of anyone who denies or doesn't or claims to disbelieve that and how it is recorded overtly/insidiously, not only how all locations of America are tactically criminally foreign influenced, especially those ones most overtly tactically criminally foreign influenced, their unfoldings and responses to it and uses of responses to it,